Hi, welcome to How to Repair. This video is on a Samsung washing machine that will not empty. You will either be getting a 5E error code or a 2E error code on early models. You will notice that normally the machine has still got water in when this timeout actually occurs. Now the first thing you should do is check the pump for any debris. Example here, a coin. Also make sure that the propeller on the actual pump itself can turn freely. You should feel it clicking as it's a magnetic pump. If that is not the problem, then you need to dismantle the machine. Now you need to unplug the machine from the electricity supply before starting any work. I'm going to remove the lid. I'm also going to remove the back panel just to let some extra light in, and then we'll remove the front panel on the machine. It is worth noting that sometimes the waste hose is fitted underneath the sink, and therefore you might have a blockage in the actual bayonet fitting itself. So just strip that down and have a look before you start stripping down the machine. Now the first thing that needs to be done is the machine is normally stopped full of water. On some models of Samsung machine there is a drain off hose which has a bung in the end of it. And while the machine is draining down, we'll just undo the two screws inside the facial panel. Make sure you keep these two screws separate as they are stainless steel. This is to stop corrosion as there's a lot of water in this area. And then there is one small screw on the side of the facial panel. We'll be able to lift up the facial panel and just move it away slightly. And this will then give us access to the three screws underneath. But first we'll remove the door interlock and take off the door seal on the front panel. The door seal retention band is held together via a spring. You might want to use a small screwdriver just to get underneath the spring to pull the wire clip off. Be careful not to damage the door seal. Then just peel the door seal off the panel. And now we're ready to undo the three screws on this model of machine that are underneath the facial panel. There is also a lug which the panel sits on, just here. So once you've got the three screws undone here, we'll now remove the four screws at the bottom. While I'm doing this, you will find links on the video that will take you through to the full tutorial on the website and also to the parts for your machine. On the tutorials you will find other videos as well that will help you fix other problems with Samsung washing machines. Just go to the repair guides and then type in Samsung and you should find all the tutorials. I'm just removing the earth wire here, which will make it easier to get the pump out. Now there are two screws on the front of the pump. These need to be removed. Then you'll be able to lift the pump up and get at the clips that hold the pipes on. Now it's worth inspecting inside this larger pipe that runs all the way through to the bottom of the drum. Sometimes you can end up with debris inside this pipe, so it's worth taking the whole pipe off and clearing that pipe. Now there's a little clip on this type of pump which gives you access to the terminals on the pump. Only two wires. But if you're in any doubt whatsoever, all you'll need to do is take a photograph just to make sure you get them back on correctly. The pump consists of three parts mainly. You have the pump filter, the pump housing and the pump motor. On some models of machine they only sell the complete unit, but on other models of machine you are able to buy the motor separately. As I said, you will need your full model number to actually find out what parts are sold for this machine, and you can enter that into the website. It's also worth noting to mark up where the pump came from on the filter so you align the new pump correctly. Now the pump sometimes has a number on it which may be the part number. Now the pump can only really be tested with a continuity test It is not earthed, so we know the windings are good, but this doesn't always mean that the pump is actually in good condition. The windings can be weak, and the pump can really only be tested under load. I'm just doing a simple bench test by connecting the pump directly to the electrics if it is a 240 pump. But just fitting the new pump on, line up the marks. So I've marked the new pump, the same as on the old, and then all you have to do is replace the screws. Make sure you get the seal in correctly. Sometimes it's worth putting a little bit of Vaseline around the seal so it slides onto the housing correctly. Make sure you get the electrical cover back on, replace the screw, and now we're ready to reinsert the pump into the machine. Please note, you should only bench test a pump if you are competent with electrics or qualified, as you are dealing with mains electricity. We're just lining up the hoses onto the new pump. This bottom hose, which is the drain off, sometimes you will need to use some debore glue on the hose. On many occasions I've had slight leaks on them, and once you've actually installed the pump and all the machine is back together, it's worth putting some newspaper underneath the machine just to make sure that you haven't got any leaks from the pump area. By putting a piece of newspaper underneath, you will be able to ascertain if you have a leak, because any small drop will land on the newspaper and is clearly visible. Connect up the electrics as it came off, put the cover down, and make sure all the pipes are lined up correctly as they came off. And as I said earlier, this sump hose that runs to the bottom of the drum is worth taking off completely. Also note, if you cannot remove the filter at the beginning, sometimes the filter is so clogged you're not able to unscrew it, and therefore the only way of getting it off properly is to take the whole pump off and strip it down before removing the filter, as this will stop you damaging the filter and the threads. Sometimes people turn them too hard and it actually breaks the filter. So we'll just replace all the screws now on the main facial panel, then we'll replace the door seal and the door interlock. While I'm doing this, do remember to support the website by subscribing to our social media and YouTube channel, as that's what keeps us going and able to make these free videos for you. Also remember to buy your parts from us, as that also is the main part of the business. Now at this point, do remember to put the two correct screws into the soap drawer area. If you follow the link on this video as well to the website, you will find the full tutorial with all the pictures and everything else. And there will also be a list of other Samsung repair videos on the site with all error codes for the machine, and also there's a useful FAQ section where you can ask questions or you can use the live chat. Remember, we can't help you unless you have your full model number. So I'm just replacing the door lock and the seal. Quite important when putting the seal on that you make sure that the seal is not twisted in any way. And when putting the band back on, I usually try to keep the spring at about 7 o'clock, which is where it came off, and you might need to use a flat blade screwdriver just to get the seal underneath. Make sure you don't do any damage to the seal area. And now we'll put the machine on test, let it do a fill, and now it will empty the water. And there you go, the water is now being pumped out of the machine. I hope you found this video helpful. Please remember to subscribe to our channel and our social media, and you can always support the website by clicking on the Buy Paul a Beer button and donating to the website. Thanks very much indeed for watching. I hope you found this video helpful.